I'm Alex Newman, and today I want to talk to you about the deep state secret societies, right? We've talked in this video series, you can check out the links below if you haven't seen it, the deep state behind the deep state, and we've talked about the deep state bureaucracy and the deep state intelligence agencies. Well, now I want to talk about the deep state secret societies, right? I mean, probably everybody has heard the term Illuminati, right? And what does the term Illuminati mean? Well, it is actually a historical organization. It was founded in 1776 by a guy called Adam Weishaupt, who was a law professor at Ingolstadt University, and it was a real organization. In fact, we have some amazing documents about this. I would point you to the book by John Robeson, Proofs of a Conspiracy, where he outlined the plot by Weishaupt, Spartacus is how he referred to himself, and some of his conspirators to overthrow all the governments and all the religions of Europe and establish basically this cosmopolitan global brotherhood of man without private property, without family, without religion, without God, and all the rest of it. Very satanic, if you will, just this idea that we're going to overthrow God and his order and all the governments and establish new ones. Well, the Elector of Bavaria found out about this, and he had been recruiting influential people into his organization. He'd been infiltrating the Masonic lodges of Europe, is what Robeson, who was a high-ranking Freemason, explained, and very, very successfully, right? They were having an enormously corrupting and subversive influence in Europe, and then authorities figured out about it, and they tried their best to stamp it out. Unfortunately, it does not seem like they were entirely successful. Obviously, being a secret society, it's very hard to know, exactly what happened. We do know that our first president, George Washington, was very, very concerned about the Illuminati and the Jacobins. He wrote that in a letter to his friends. His friend, a reverend, he said, "It's not my intention to doubt that the Illuminati has arrived here in America," and he was right. Actually, when he died, the book Proofs of a Conspiracy was in his library. It was sent to him by a Christian friend of his, and so the fact that the Illuminati existed is well documented. It's beyond dispute. It did exist. It was a real organization. Now, whether it continued is hard to know. What we do know is that these subversive doctrines, have continued into the present. In fact, if you read the Communist Manifesto, it is very, very aligned with what these maniacs in the Illuminati were hoping to accomplish. Now, beyond the Illuminati, there's a lot of speculation that it continued in different forms, but I want to talk about some of the secret societies that operate in America today that we know of for a fact, right? That there's no question about. There's probably plenty of others that we don't know about or that we don't know much about, so I want to focus in on two. The first one is the Order of Skull and Bones. It's a secret society at Yale, and we know both George W. Bush and, of course, his father and his grandfather, Senator Prescott Bush, who got in some legal trouble for financing the Nazi war machine. All of them were involved in Skull and Bones, and there's been a lot of speculation that maybe Skull and Bones was connected to the Illuminati. Actually, it was founded by a guy whose family was in the opium business after he returned from Germany, Mr. Russell. And whether that's true or not is really just speculation. We don't know. But what we do know is that John Kerry, another guy who ran against George W. Bush in the presidential election, was also involved. And you can watch the video of them here, admitting their membership in the organization but refusing to say anything about it.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go on.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code?
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
322, a secret number?
There are all kinds of secrets, Tim.
The fact that this organization exists is very well documented. We know also, from some investigative reports, people have tried to videotape some of this, that the rituals that they engage in, their symbols, are just completely obsessed with death, right? Why the obsession with skulls and with death and with coffins, right? What is going on here? Some of the other people who've been involved, people like William Buckley, right? The guy who founded the National Review and went to war with, all sorts of different good conservatives, tried to purge the conservative movement of real conservatives. He worked for the CIA too, and he was involved in the Council on Foreign Relations. So, real deep state character. But so a lot of very influential people have come through this secret society, and there's a very good book about it. It's America's Secret Establishment by a historian from Stanford, Anthony Sutton. He wrote a lot of important books exposing key elements of the deep state, and his expose of the Skull and Bones is probably one of the best to date. It's incredibly important. I encourage you to get a copy. But that's just one of the very powerful organizations. You know, they have their members have been Supreme Court justices, presidents, heads of big businesses and mega banks, senators, congressmen, all the rest of it. Incredibly influential group of people. And, you know, it's a secret society, so we don't know everything that goes on there, but we do know that it's very shady. Then we have also the Bohemian Grove, and, you know, talk about weird and shady. And, you know, if I told you, and you didn't know any better, that the leaders of the world, you know, the men only men are invited to this, but the male leaders of the world got together in the woods of California and sacrificed what they say are, you know, effigies of humans to a 40-foot stone owl as part of a cremation of care ceremony, you'd think that that sounded pretty crazy. And that's because it is pretty crazy. But here, you can watch the video, and you can see this. Actually, an incredible journalist, Alex Jones, managed to sneak in there with a video camera, and he filmed these people sacrificing what they said was a human effigy to this 40-foot stone owl that a lot of people have suggested is Molech, right? Is a representation of Molech, the old biblical demon god who demanded child sacrifices. So these are some very weird people. You have about 2,500 of the most powerful men in the world show up at the woods, and they run around naked, and they pee on trees, and they engage in bizarre rituals, and you know, a lot of politics goes on there. Richard Nixon wrote in his autobiography that the most important, the most memorable speech he gave was the one he gave to the Bohemian Grove, right? He also had some less nice things to say about the Bohemian Grove, but it's a very, very important organization that has been operating, you know, for a long time now, going back more than 100 years. So again, every Republican president since the 1920s has attended this Bohemian Grove thing, and Alex Jones has actually asked some of the attendees on camera, you know, if they participate in these rituals. You can see David Gergen, for example, who's been kind of the leading advisor to 4 different presidents, doesn't matter the party, talking about his time at Bohemian Grove. So it's a real organization, and a lot of shady stuff goes on here. And I think if you really want to understand the deep state, you have to understand this occult component to it, right? These people do very weird things behind closed doors. You know, they pretend to be, you know, good Christians in public, but then they get out to the woods and they run around naked and they sacrifice, you know, supposedly fake children to 40-foot stone owls, right? It's very bizarre. Check out the videos. And please stay tuned for more. We've got one more part in this series on the deep state, following the deep state money men. So thank you for watching, and subscribe to the New American Magazine.